What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome back to another episode of the Low Life Motherfucking Chopper Podcast.
Get to the chopper!
The Low Life Chopper Podcast.
What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome back to another episode of the Low Life Motherfucking Chopper Podcast.
What's up, you sons of guns?
You may have noticed that my voice sounds extremely sexy today. That's because we got some new fucking technology in the studio.
It looks extremely sexy, too, because you got new mic and new cam.
I'll do it. Listen, your boy's on the webcam. Check out my OnlyFans for fucking 69 cents.
Look at those freckles.
Oh, shit. So, real quick, before we jump into all the usual shit, we have a guest. We've been trying to get this man on for months, and it just hasn't lined up yet.
Yeah.
So,
here I am in the flesh. Arrow MFG. We're doing it real big out in the alleyway.
that's it. That's where all the big dreams start.
It really
Yeah,
is.
You in Wisconsin, is it?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Which we just figured out when we were starting the show is in a different time zone. Because we were hitting him up, and I'm like, all right, bro, time to go live. And he's like, dude, I'm taking a shower. Like, what the fuck's going on? It's 5:30 here. So you don't have to be smart to start to be on a podcast for sure.
Nope.
Just got to
You
go
should have
do
seen me
it.
trying to plug all this shit in, dude. I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, why is there so many fucking wires?
It's like spaghetti over here.
That's it. So listen, before we start this episode off, we will start this the way we always do, with some motherfucking housekeeping. So-
Housekeeping.
Yeah. Listen, we already recorded the Low Lives After Dark for this week. You need to get the fuck over there. It's
heat.
going to hurt some feelings,
Yeah.
but I promise you, if you listen all the way through, you won't be as upset.
It has a happy ending, but you definitely threw some pepper on that bitch.
Do some
was
pepper.
hot.
Daddy had to hand out the spankings, but at the end of the day, I still love you.
Shit.
Some tough love.
And listen, if you're not on the Patreon yet, get over there. Link is in the bio. We have a link tree where you can go to everything that we're involved in, from our merch store to our Patreon, to listen to the podcast, to donate, to help out Parker. We have everything in one convenient location. So if you want to get in on the Patreon, you can start all the way from $1. So we have different tiers. We have $1. That's to say, hey, listen, boys, we appreciate the hard work. Here's a fucking $1 a month. Listen, we appreciate it. Next level is $5. This starts getting you into like the cool shit. So you'll get to see YouTube drops before they hit YouTube. You get to see the Low Life After Dark episodes. You get to go back and forth with us on Patreon for show ideas, who you want to see on, what kind of shit you want us to talk about on Low Life After Dark. Next, we have the $10 giveaway level. You get all of that shit we just talked about, but you also get in a drawing every month to win $100 sent to your fucking PayPal to help you build those shitty motorcycles. Or if we have a company that wants to partner with us that month, it'll be $100 plus, or $100 equivalent or more.
Yeah,
I don't know what to say here. In a giveaway.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we have our sponsor
that's-
levels. Obviously, if you want to know
That's
about
in
that,
any
let us know.
denomination too. If it's $100, like we can do digital currency. We can do $100 bill. We'll do 5 20s. We could do 10 10s. We can do a mix of 10s and 5s and 20s.
Ones, pennies, whatever you want.
Yeah.
So listen, getting on the Patreon, there's a lot of cool shit on the Patreon. The Patreon is bigger and better than it ever has been. You guys will get to weigh in on different merch that we drop. You'll get in on giveaways that other people won't be able to get in on. there's a lot of cool shit coming up. And speaking of shit that's coming up,
oh shit,
we have the Low Life Lowdown, June 10th, Epping, New Hampshire. This one is going to be a banger. We got food trucks, cold beer, a shit ton of raffles by a lot of really cool people, a bunch of vendors showing up. We got live music. All the proceeds to the raffles go to Operation Purpose, which is a veteran charity. He's actually riding to the show from the Carolinas.
That's awesome.
It's going to be badass. As of right now, there's like a 30% chance of rain in the morning. Don't be scared. Do not be scared. It's still going to be a good time, and there's no rain on the way home. It's 0% chance after 4 o'clock. So that means you'll be riding home in nice, warm, 74-degree weather. So don't be scared. Get out here. Come enjoy the day. We will be there no matter what. Rain, shine, tornadoes, hail, sleet. It doesn't fucking matter. We are coming to party and raise some motherfucking money for Operation Purpose.
Yeah, and that percent chance of rain is bullshit anyways, because it doesn't mean that it's not a 30% chance of rain right over us where we're standing. It's a 30% chance like anywhere in the county. You know what I mean? So we're going to dodge it anyways. But come early.
Hey, listen, so some people don't understand that because I never knew. I just learned about this recently.
Mm-hmm.
When it says 30% chance, it doesn't mean 30% chance in Epping, New Hampshire. It just means there's a 30% chance that somewhere in Rockingham County it's going to rain. After I learned this, I learned that weather fucking meteorologists, whatever the fuck you call these people, have a pretty fucking easy job.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't even have to be good at it.
That's not even flipping a coin at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So listen, get out there. Either way, it's going to be a fucking blast, and it's for a good cause. Up next for shit that's coming up, the Deadbeat Retreat. I'll get into more of this when we get to that sponsor part. But listen, your boys from the Low Life Chopper Podcast are teaming up with Deadbeat Customs and ChopShit.com, the famous Chicken Rick. And we are going to make this the biggest, baddest, most exciting Deadbeat Retreat you have ever fucking seen in your life. There's going to be more shit happening. It's going to be on a schedule so you can actually show up when shit's going down. We're trying to bring it back to a ride-in show. So ride your goddamn motorcycles. Let's have fun. Whether it's fucking pouring, raining, or not, there's nothing better than riding into camp on your fucking bike. We're going to be doing a full-blown every bike at Deadbeat bike show. So it's not going to be just a chopper show. If you rode there on your bike is in the fucking show. We want to get every bike on that campground in one fucking spot for the dopest picture that's ever been posted online.
Hell yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, Chicken Rick, we're going to do an episode with Chicken Rick. He's going to get into a lot of like the logistics shit of like what we're going to be planning, but just know there is going to be shit going on at every point of the fucking weekend. I think the Low Life guys are actually going to plan a fucking ride. People are going to ride their motorcycles at this shit. And listen, we're all local dudes, so we know the good spots. We'll probably hit up the Kank for a lot of guys that are out of town, haven't rid the Kank. The Kank's a fucking dope ride. There's some good spots to eat afterwards. We'll grab some beer, eat some real food. That way you can stop eating hot dogs at fucking Fiddlehead. And then get back for the bike show and everything else. Go grab your ticket. They are now available at deadbeatcustoms.com. And guess what? Here's a tidbit for you. The tickets are $60. That covers for the entire weekend. But since you're a savvy motherfucker and listen to Low Life Chopper Podcast, type in code LOWLIFE at checkout. Ooh, save some money, boy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, discount, and it's even at $60. That's a good deal.
Especially for the shit that's going to be going down this year. You can't beat $60.
If you say this is the best year, let me just put this into fucking perspective for some people. Last year, people lost body parts. The year before that,
that's a fact.
A naked dude threw an entire motorcycle in a bonfire.
And everything he owned.
That'll happen.
And someone got married. I mean, dude, it's going to be hard to top the last couple of years. And I've been to them all.
Here's the goal is we're trying to bring it back to the original Deadbeat. When people were riding there and just having an all-out fucking blast doing motorcycle shit for the whole fucking weekend. The people that are involved, I do not have a doubt in my mind that this will be the biggest, baddest deadbeat retreat that has ever happened. You heard it here first.
Right on.
That's coming up quick, dude. That's fucking only 2 months away.
Yeah. And while we're doing shout outs, go check out the boys at Easy Co on YouTube. They are probably one of my favorite fucking YouTube channels ever made. These dudes are hilarious. Every episode is fucking, I'm cackling like a female every time I watch their shit. So go watch one of their episodes. Leave a comment. Say the Low Life Chopper podcast sent you. That way they will continue to share our flyers.
Yeah, that was super cool of those dudes. That's
Yeah.
Hollywood down there.
Yeah.
Worcester is like basically Hollywood compared to New Hampshire.
Fucking Worcester. Do we have anything else? Or are we good to jump into this? Oh, listen, merch store is live. People are already ordering the shirts. Rhino is wearing one of the shirts right now. Can you give us a 360 real quick? Let him see the back. Show him those glutes, boy.
My friend,
Crushing it. Got it. So listen, we got 5 t-shirts on the website right now. Get over there. Like I said, link is in the link tree in our bio at the Low Life Chopper podcast on Instagram.
And all of them are not safe for work. If you guys start buying them, maybe I'll make some designs for your kids. You know, maybe we can have one that says like choppers or fart off or something like that. If your wife is like doesn't want to wear some shit that says like some swear words on it. But
yeah, we're gonna have to make a tank baby onesie or something.
That's a good idea. Yeah. But again,
right,
just before we get on, dude, I just got this shit today. All right. Fight shirts, bro. You could pull this fucking thing over my head like fucking Wayne Gretzky and start pounding me. This shit's not gonna rip. I just throw this in the wash the next day, wash the blood off. I'm good to go. This shit is thick.
I wouldn't even wash the blood off, dude. Give that shit character.
Dude, this shit is thick. And dude, big boys, you know, you got them boobies or whatever, the Buddha nipples, dude. This shit's thick. It'll keep that nice and taut. You might get a date. Look at that. Hugs in all the right places, dude. These are nice.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Heck yeah.
Oh, well, I think that is it for our cleanup shit.
Housekeeping done. Mints on the pillow.
Perfect.
We ready to roll in this motherfucking interview, Chris?
Oh boy,
Yeah,
just
let's
giving us
do
a
it.
tour.
He's jogging around.
Dude, I'm making
He's
the
just
rounds, dude.
just doing a quick 5K here.
Dude, I'm running laps. Gotta stay healthy, bro. Gotta stay fit. It's all about the endurance, the fitness. So yeah, man. Appreciate you guys letting me come on here and talk.
Yeah,
man.
No, it's been a long time coming. I actually, I am a supporter of aero manufacturing. I have a one-off Wu-Tang custom taillight on the shovel head.
Yeah,
myself.
you do.
The thing's fucking sweet.
Yes.
It's bright as fuck.
Yeah.
But why don't you just start off? Just tell us, I guess, a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you got started in this, what you're up to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, so I'm originally from Madison, but I moved to Milwaukee to go to art school, believe it or not, and went to design school and did all that fun business for like product design. And I just ended up getting into investment casting when I was in school. I had used to work in like fabrication shops and stuff like that before I went to school. I used to do construction and all that jazz, worked in fab shops, and it just was like one of those things where after a while I was like, I wanted something a little bit more like creative, right? So I went into product design, and then again found investment casting and really started to push that heavy along with the other stuff that I knew from just like, you know, engineering and CAD related stuff, and started to kind of like blend between art and engineering and the fabrication skills that I had before, right? And kind of meld that all together to make what I have, which is Aero MFG. So it started off with like, you know, timing covers and stuff like that, and then rocker covers. And the rocker covers, there's still more work that needs to be done on that. I still need to have like an actual shop and a structure that's going to work for me in the right way. But I'm going to be pushing more patterns with those, and then also lighting. Like, so I started off making headlights originally, and there's so many different variables that I had not considered with headlights. You have to have really good optics. You have to have a lot of good circuitry, and you have to, get a lot of different components working properly to have a safe and bright headlight. So from doing that, I learned a lot from headlights, still have my own, style of headlight, and jumped into taillights because I knew it was going to be something a little bit simpler, right? And easy to accomplish and repeatable, right? Like there's not so much optic engineering that has to go on with taillights. So that's where I've jumped into making those.
So let me ask you something real quick. If we can go back a little bit, what is investment casting? What is that mean?
Hell yeah. So investment casting is it's a fucking awesome process. It's actually pretty ancient. It's the same kind of stuff that people would make, like big bronze casting back in the day. Like, like you see the sculptures of, like, yeah. It's like thousands of years old, dude. It's like super, super old. It's a really old process, and it's actually been, a lot of people have forgotten about it, right? Like when you think of casting, you think of sand, you think of, die casting and sand. And a lot of people skip on the investment casting. There's a lot of power there because you don't have to play by any rules when it comes to investment casting. Like on your taillight, there's plenty of parts on that taillight that have absolutely no draft or negative draft. And it's like, you can't pull that in sand. So it's like literally black magic. And that's what gets me super pumped.
So how does it actually work? Like, what are you doing, like for, like mold and all that shit?
Yeah, so I got a couple of different molds. There's a couple of different ways to do to make parts from wax, right? Like you can inject it, you can use soft tools and other stuff like that. And some of that stuff's a little bit more sensitive. For the stuff that I'm doing, I'm try to keep a little bit of a lid on some of the process, but like. Yeah, you can definitely, you can pull a lot of crazy shit. Like basically anything that couldn't be done in sand, like you can do it in wax with, a little bit of like thinking and preparation of molds. It might be a multi-piece mold just to pull something that's really funky, or you take different parts and you stick them together afterwards, right? So what we do is we pour hot wax. We call it like burnout wax, and they come in a couple of different colors, which would be corresponding to like the shrink rate or how that wax performs, like the performance of it. I normally use like a red wax. It's a more artisan kind of wax. It's actually transparent when you pour it, so you can see if there's any porosities or bubbles or anything. That way I can really ensure that I have a good casting, because whatever that wax is, that's what my part's going to look like. And the only thing is, you got to account for the shrink of the wax and then the shrink of the casting afterwards, depending on which metal you choose to cast in. So,
right.
Yeah. So it's a pretty difficult process. I'm not going to lie. For where I'm at right now, with not having really a professional setup, it's like, man, it's a lot of teeth pulling sometimes. But again, the end result is just you get such a beautiful form. It's basically, you can go wild with the sculpture side of it. You can just go absolutely bonkers. So that's why I get super stoked on it.
So I guess the wax burns off when you pour in you're using aluminum primarily, right?
Yeah, but I can do if need be, I can do stainless or bronze or brass, and I want to make brass. The same pipe tomahawks that I had, I want to make those out of brass later on, so you can actually smoke out of them and like use them. That's my thinking later on, is like, damn, that'd be sick to like pull up and like use your fucking shifter to smoke with. You know what I mean? So just like other stuff like that, you can basically do any metal, but I'm primarily in aluminum. Sometimes I'll do bronze, and I want to do more stainless. I just haven't had the opportunity to really. So so what you do is you'll pour. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna. So stainless steel, isn't that? I guess what are you melting this metal with? Because isn't steel? Don't you have to get that like a lot hotter than aluminum or brass?
Yeah. So what you do? So the process is this. So what you'll do is you'll take wax. you'll pour it into a mold or whatever you have. You'll take that wax out. You'll attach it to a tree, and then you'll take that. You'll cover it in a ceramic shell. It's like, you can pour anything into it. It's really heat resistant material. And so after you take that and you cover that wax with the ceramic shell, you'll burn all the wax out. You do a burnout process. You dry that ceramic shell out, and then and then from there you'll pour your metal in, right? And then you knock off the ceramic shell, and what you have left is a massive tree loaded full of parts, right? So that's the process of investment casting in a really kind of basic, over.
That's
Yeah,
sick.
dude, it's like, it gives me fucking chills. It seriously does. It's like, damn, like this is so sick. So
yeah. Also, has anybody ever told you look like Heath Ledger?
I have had people tell me that. Yeah, all the time. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing a Joker routine soon. I basically
You should
am
be
that
like
dude.
making taillights, and then when like you turn around, you just like your face is painted like
Dude,
Joker.
when I get a lot of like, just dust from buffing shit, I definitely turn some heads when I go to the local corner store. For real. They go, oh! So yeah, dude. But it's been a blast. I mean, I really love it. Like, I probably like it too much. I've definitely sacrificed a few jobs to make sure that like we're gonna get some fucking parts done or sent out or to the foundry or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? So, but it's like one of those things. I don't think I'm ever gonna stop pouring metal. You know what I mean? And making parts.
How long have you been doing this now? I guess like when was the first time you made a part till
so
you started producing like saleable parts?
So I've always been interested in casting, like long before I even went to school. I've always been interested in that just because like I knew the power of repeat parts, right? Like repeatability with anything, whether it be just trucks or working on stuff. It's just nice to have that kind of repeatability. And I got into casting maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but it was always kind of on my mind. I always knew that was going to be the next thing for me. You know what I mean? Whether, I got really good with welding and all that other stuff, but I didn't want to sit there and, make jigs and fab stuff up like that, right? So just a different way to get after it.
So what was the first part that you made? I guess for a motorcycle.
Timing covers, definitely. I made these
timing covers.
Yeah, I made these little American flag timing covers a while back, and fucking nobody wanted those. I was like, God damn, you guys are all unpatriotic as fuck. But I know, it's unbelievable. But that's okay. I mean, the shrink was all goofed up on those anyways, so they're a little bit small. But yeah, man.
So you went from timing covers to was it rocker
covers, headlights, and then back over to taillights, And it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you want to make a pattern that's good and you have confidence in it, it takes an immense amount of work, especially for the logistics that I have. I don't have the access to just do stuff really fast. I wish I did, but it's not. It's just not like that. I gotta plug this phone in.
Oh, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a big leap to go from timing covers to rocker covers, because like that's a pretty vital component to the motorcycle. You know what I mean? Like that's taking a lot of heat. I mean, how do you make that leap from it? You'd think like maybe shift knobs, maybe like a fucking foot peg or something. But
so I actually did make shift knobs. I forgot about that. But the foot pegs, it was one of those things where it's like, I don't really want people standing on these. You know what I mean? Like there is always the liability of like there might be porosity that I can't see visually. So I'm always kind of safe about that kind of stuff. But rocker covers, it's just a piece of aluminum at the end of the day. I feel like it's really easy for me and then other people as well to overcomplicate some of this stuff. And it's like, yeah, as long as you have your dimensions right, you make sure stuff's not hitting, at the end of the day, it's just another piece of aluminum. What are your rocker covers made out of? Aluminum. What are these made out of? Aluminum. As long as clearances are right, you should be good. Like I haven't had any problems running mine. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, you're doing like full rocker box covers?
Yeah, the rocker covers. I gotta get the clicker for my garage, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. I want to do engines later on. Like I would love to do cylinders and all that stuff, and it's just a matter of finding time for it. I've already talked to a couple of people who are willing to cut cylinders for me, but it's just a matter of like, getting the time and making the right patterns. So fuck, clicker's not in there. Yeah, man, but it's a trip.
Damn, I thought when you were talking about like rocker box covers that there were like covers that sat on
No.
boxes.
Like there's,
because like you've seen those, right?
Like
the ones that just like they're like the face of the shovel head.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. No offense
I mean?
to those people doing that. I just feel like it's just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like I'd rather just make the whole thing. So.
Right.
And it's still, to be honest with you, it's still just the top cover, right, for the Sportsters. So again, it's not like there's not a lot of like room to screw up if you have your measurements right. So yeah.
I guess how do you know that you get I guess without getting into the process too much, I guess like how did you make a rocker cover? Because that's a bit. First of all, going from timing covers to shift knobs to whatever, like a rocker cover is a huge piece, and like you said, I mean the measurements have to be pretty damn exact, right? So like, what kind of background do you have? I mean, you're not a machinist. Like, are you just a whiz with numbers and measuring, or what the fuck? How do you even figure that shit out?
I'd like to say I'm probably like a backyard machinist. Like I know enough to be dangerous, right? Like, and I know is a good way to put it. You know what I mean? But it's, you just take measurements of what the stock stuff is, and you can compare years to make sure that everything stays consistent with this specific rocker cover. So it's like a lot of reverse engineering. Like I'll take a lot of caliper measurements and I'll double check that. I draw stuff out on paper to make sure my measurements are correct, and just double, triple checking that, and then like when it's time, like I can draw something up in CAD. Now, granted, I can hand sculpt all this shit. Like I am still nice with a file. I've done sculpture before, like out of foam or whatever it may be. So if it had to be that way, where it's like super artisanal and handmade, definitely could do it. But it's faster to go right to CAD, print out models, right, with FEM stuff. Make sure that everything looks correct. Make sure that everything bolts up. Make sure you can slide underneath the frame, because you got to make that clearance as well. And then once you're good there, then it's adjusting shrink, right, for, patterns, and then also finishing those covers. So you have to do a lot of surface finishing before you make a mold for something like that, because, you don't want to see any, surface defects that would come with FDM stuff. So.
See, this is the thing that's interesting, I guess, about, aero manufacturing to me, is that it's a rare combination to be, like good with machining and numbers and, that sort of thing, but also with like a peripheral on like the artistic stuff. And that seems to be like the motivation for you is, making, you talk about making functional art, the creative process and stuff. That seems to be almost paramount to the actually like just making a cool part.
Yeah.
So why don't you talk a little bit about like what that process looks like and how you decide what you're going to do?
Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. That's a great observation. I'm glad you brought that up, because there's a lot of stuff like I'll usually, when I'm looking for older patterns, or if I want to get inspiration for some of that stuff, like I'll usually go to, libraries. I'll look at a lot of old literature, because there's a lot of like Art Nouveau vibes in older books. You'll see it in the text. You'll see it in the first pages of a book. You'll see all these different designs. There's a lot of good information that you can pick up from public libraries, even in the rare book sections. That's usually where I'd hunt around, because that's where they got the really fly shit, is all in the rare book collections, and a lot of that stuff is free. So if you guys want to go out and see some wild shit, that like, I mean, some of the stuff they had just in the Milwaukee area, it's like, oh, those are like, Mucha prints. Like fucking Mucha prints are just chilling in the library. Like it's bonkers. So you can get a lot of good inspiration for, where you want to go with patterns. I'll usually look there, and I start to look at what works visually, and then I apply that to like, I'll take inspiration from that and apply it to my own stuff. I'll draw stuff out, hand draw, and then make sure this is something that is going to be feasible once we cast it in aluminum, right? Because some patterns just do not work. You'll try to apply it to something three-dimensional, it just doesn't work, right? It doesn't have a good translate. It doesn't translate over. So you got to be, careful for that, and then you just keep pushing on that. You can get a lot of great stuff from like popular culture in the 60s and all that kind of retro shit. That's where you see like the peace signs and Playboy bunnies and all that fun shit. But really it's just staying in tune with, different cultures and, looking at different stuff that you find throughout history that is art related and trying to apply it in your own way, right? You put your own spin to it, see what worked for them and see if that's still relevant now with the customers that want to purchase, right? So that's kind of how I rock it.
So why motorcycles? Because it sounds like, you could have just been doing sculpture or photography or fucking any number of different things. But like, what's the draw to the motorcycle stuff?
That is also a great question. I noticed an overlap, right? Like, so this culture, our culture, right? Like I've always been playing with motorcycles since I was little. Like had my first bike at 16. My dad helped, we helped build it and whatever. But like there's always been an overlap for me where I saw like, okay, people enjoy something that's custom. People want something that's meaningful and has an art, element to it when it comes to motorcycles, especially custom motorcycles. That's huge. And I saw like, okay, if people want it, then people might buy it. That allows me to, because anybody can make sculpture. It doesn't mean anybody's going to buy it. You know what I mean? So you can put 50 hours into a beautiful bronze sculpture and you're fuck out of luck. Like who's going to buy this shit? You know what I mean? So it's a little bit more feasible. And then there's also like, and it's like, that's true. But it's also like, I've been in that spot where I'm like, dude, I can't fucking afford anything. Like, I want to fucking have something sick, but I can't afford to do it. And a lot of like, this also comes into like, why don't we figure out a way to make everything affordable and then also make it really cool and then offer like everyday people, can just buy this shit, right? Like, so I saw that kind of overlap as well, where the process is nailed down enough to where like I can sell affordable stuff that rocks. Yeah, man. So again, it's been one of those things where just a lot of overlap between the things that I enjoy, whether it be motorcycles, and fine art, all that kind of stuff just coming together where it's like, oh shit, like I could actually see myself, continuing to make cool stuff. And I think also there's a lot of room for like innovation. Like a lot of the stuff that we have, for just building bikes and parts and whatever, like a lot of that stuff kind of just feels like a parts unlimited, like some of that, like obviously there's a lot of people still making like hand built stuff, stuff that's really nice, but there is also like a lot of area for like improvement, in certain spots, right? And that's where I've also identified with just the taillights, like maybe we can try to make stuff that, performs a little bit better and it's a little bit smaller, and then kind of matches what the community wants, right? So that's kind of where I was thinking. Like I saw that kind of overlap where I was like, man, like I think I could throw my hat into the ring, So
yeah, but also it's like originality too, because like when I look at an Aero manufacturing taillight, it does not look like the rest of the taillights out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different design because the way that you mount it is different,
Yeah.
It looks different and it really comes through. And I guess to speak to the artistic part of like building motorcycle parts, like that's
I really
what drew me
appreciate
to
that.
those originally.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's a pretty novel idea. And the one that you got, like we changed the form a little bit moving forward, but like I was even hoping the finish could have been better on those, right? Like there's a couple areas where the form doesn't look as it should be, you know what I mean? Just because it was, kind of a, little bit of a rush deal. But yeah, man, the way that mounts up, and even with the ones moving forward, just tried to limit the amount of fasteners that were involved and try to really think about like, how can I make this easy for whomever to install? Like if they just got a flux core welder, or whatever it is, like how can I make this so easy where, there isn't a deterrent for getting this thing on, right? Like that was even what.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think
That's
about
a really
that.
good point too, is because like, yeah, if you have like a lot of people do the stainless steel ones and just assume people have TIG welders, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this one, it bolts on. I mean, you can bolt it on to whatever, and you don't even need a welder.
Yeah. If you have a 1/4 inch piece coming off of something, ideally you'd want a 1/4 inch thick, you know, but yeah, you could figure out a way to mount it without, especially with the coffins. Yeah, you can definitely bend up a bracket. And I think about that stuff a lot because I've been in that spot multiple times where I'm like, I'm trying to make some fly shit, but like, I don't have a fucking welder here. Or it might be a flux core welder or a stick welder. You know what I mean? How do you like make something that's going to be like good without spending a bunch of time, right? So I do I think about like how can we make it bolt on? And again, like that goes back into like let's try to make less fasteners involved, you know. So yeah.
Yeah. And the handwritten install instructions too is a nice touch. So like it's those little things that most motorcycle parts you purchase do not have any instructions whatsoever. Yours were quite verbose and they're hand drawn.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like a piece of art in with a piece of art. It's like one of those Russian nesting dolls, you know?
Yeah. And I would hope to do like, again, most of the time I'm fucking running like at top speed. I'm like, fuck, I need to get this done. I really wish I could spend time and really fucking grease those over and make them really, really sexy. But the thing is that I know what kind of person I am. I'm a visual learner, right? Like if I give you a written instruction, people are going to go like, I don't know what this is. I want to read, you know what I mean? Like, know how people are. So I'd rather give people a visual instruction on how it gets installed than it's like really fast. Like, oh, that's how that works. You know what I mean? Or like, oh, okay, I get it now, you know? And I think a lot of instructions, like if you know your users, like I just feel like a lot of guys aren't going to be reading like, the instructions. Like, no offense to anyone. You know what I mean? Like
I have a hard time reading.
You know,
like I'm not even joking. Like I don't think I'm stupid, but like reading is hard. I don't read a lot.
Yeah.
I don't read. I like watching movies or watching videos or like looking at pictures. That works for me too.
Yeah, I think it's the nature of the beast. I mean, we like custom shit. Like we're all visual creatures, right? So to give written instructions just feels kind of almost like a step in the wrong direction, right? So it's visual is, what I try to push on that, right? So yeah.
Oh, shit. So you said you started pretty young with bikes. Were you a dirt bike kid, or were you like, did you get into street bikes with your dad, or like, I guess what was that introduction like?
Yep, street bikes. So he had a Monster and Triumph Speed 4. He didn't have the Speed Triple, but he had the Speed 4. And just hearing the Ducati every day, like I was just like, damn, like that thing's sick. And I just slowly got into, and I've always been that person who's like, oh, I'm going to take my BMX bike and like paint it, you know what I mean? And strip the whole thing. Like I'm 12 years old playing with the grinders. Like I remember one day I got a buffing wheel caught up in one of my flannels. Dude, I just about had a fucking heart attack when I was like 12. I got, oh shit. That's when I learned like power tools are not to be played with, so yeah, but yeah, starting really young, playing around with bicycles and then transferring over to motorcycles. And then like, actually cafe racers are what got me, first. And then I just realized like, making, doing kind of chopper shit, like that stuff's a lot cooler. And there's also a better community, right? Like, so that was another part of it as well. So.
What are you riding right now? I think I saw, I don't even know what the hell it is. A Catalina?
Yeah.
Has been.
Yeah, I found that Catalina, and I'm kind of been restoring that right now. That thing runs good, but fuck, like that thing's super nice. I almost like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I love to ride it, but at the same time, like, dude, if I crash that thing, it's not gonna be easy to find new parts. But I also have a Sportster, and then I have a Triumph, and then I bought that fucking Vespa, and I didn't know I didn't know that they faked those things. Like, it's a real Vespa, but apparently what the Indonesian, I'm not trying to name anybody really, but like the the Asian countries, right? Like they'll take multiple Vespas and fucking weld them together. Like they take all the worst Vespas and they just like kind of stick them together.
What
They
the
fucking
fuck?
cut pieces, like they'll cut a frame right in half. And I ended up like knocking a bunch of paint off. Like, what the fuck is this thing welded together? And there's like literally multiple different frames welded together on that thing. So I kind of took an L on that one, but you know, we're still gonna make it work. So, but yeah. So got a slew
Holy
of them.
shit! So it's just cobbled together from older, different year Vespas or something,
Yep.
or different
Yep.
scooters.
Different frames. So it's got a Vespa engine, it's got a Vespa frame, but the frames, like I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be like stamped sheet metal, and you can tell where like some dude just welded some shit together. Like, you know, it's like a shitty flux core weld, and it's lathered in Bondo, like up and down.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fucking sketchy. And I heard that they'll like break in half. Some of those things will just break completely in half. I guess it's a common thing to like fake vintage Vespas and then sell them as like, oh, this is, you know, this shit is like, oh, this is a retro Vespa, you know, and so they can make money doing that. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is my guy right here. As you can see, this is the shop space. But yeah, those are the rocker covers I was talking about, or one set of them. You got these nice big tall
fins. Holy shit!
Turquoise inlays, and this guy's a little piece that I hand carved, a little hand carved skull, and you know all that. These are the headlights that I was talking about earlier, but I have these in aluminum. These are plastic right now, but I gotta fix all that up and get that going. But this is my just daily ripper, just to get around, have fun. So yeah, man. I'm fucking plugged into all the cords. Quite a process. I always got a ball and chain, basically. So
yeah, this one, yeah, we're gonna have to put a warning up if you have vertigo or you're susceptible to fucking car sickness. Watch out for the YouTube video on this one, because usually it's just.
mm-hmm.
But no, this is good. It's like action. I think it really reflects your personality, though.
Dude,
because
yes.
I wish I had the fucking energy you have, dude. Because as I understand it, too, this is just a side hustle for you, too, right? I mean, you have a day job, and then this is all after hours shit.
Well, had a day job. I actually just kind of had a falling out with the job that I was working at right now. But it's just kind of like personality things. I got a pretty strong personality. And if I run into other people...
This seems to be like a recurring thing on this show.
Just fucking, oh, I'm out of a job. Classic. So, but I mean, you know, it was on good terms, right? I'm just doing my own thing. I think I'm just going to try to sell art over the summer. So it's going to rock.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask. Are there ever any plans to just go full-time Aero or what?
Fuck yeah, there is. Definitely. So I'm reaching out to a couple of other people. I got one of the best molders in, like, probably in America who's going to try to help me with lenses. And coincidentally enough, like, I linked up with him at the old job that I was at, right? And it was just like one of those things where it's like, oh, wow, that fucking worked like fate. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm gonna push that, and then hopefully, you know, there's again, like everything's kind of like we get better each time, right? So I'm sure there's going to be revisions in the future, but I'd like to get stuff over at Lowbrow, and then I'd like to keep pushing and see how, you know, people, you know, if people like the stuff, and if so, then it's like keep making more. People seem to really like the coffins, which that was kind of an easy, you know what I mean? That was kind of like an easy go, but
right.
Yeah, man.
So what needs to happen for you to go full time? Like, is it like need to get a bigger shop space, or like have that outlet of like Lowbrow or Built Well or something like that?
Yeah, I have.
Or is it
I have no idea. You know, I think it would be a mixture of a few things. Like I need to identify how to get in front of more users that are inclined to purchase. Like, so I think that a lot of people will look at likes and be like, damn, like that got a gazillion likes. Like that dude must be a millionaire. But really that's only the people that are interested so far, is like, they're just interested. Like I need to be able to get in front of people who are actively ready to purchase. Like, so I understand that.
Yeah.
And then also like, I'm not the greatest person when it comes to making connections sometimes. And this summer, I need to like actually get out and shake more hands and, you know, kiss more babies and just be like, yo, like, let's do this thing. Cause I know that.
Hey, that's what I was saying, man. If you're trying to get to the lowdown, I got a booth with your name on it.
You ain't got no job. You ain't got shit to do, bro.
Go. Fuck yeah. And, you know, even if I can't make it, I'd be willing to send some stuff out there for you guys just to support. So, yeah. But yeah, I think it's going to be a mixture of, you know, getting the right infrastructure, right? Like, so having someone polish, you know, Caleb came through. Shout out Caleb. I really appreciate that. Truck stop sushi came through and helped me, you know, sand and finish some stuff. I got to do some process work in the sense that like I need to set up better so castings are easier to manage. Like sometimes it's
Right.
I don't want to drill holes anymore. Like I used to just put pilot, like the indication for where a pilot is for a hole that I need to drill. Later on, I'm not going to drill holes. Like I'm going to have the holes already in the parts, right? So like it's stuff like that. And then it's, you know, I just got done talking to somebody who's going to help me out with polishing. So might outsource some of that work. Right now I'm doing all of this shit by myself. So when you guys order a gazillion, you know, it'll come in waves. So like if you guys order a bunch of shit, there's literally it's just me like back here, you know what I mean? And it fucking it's brutal sometimes, you know, but I'm still like grateful, right? Like I'm never like, oh, I don't want to do this shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you have your stuff on chopshit.com?
I do not.
Yeah, you should hit up Rick. He has his following is fucking huge, and that's like that's his thing. Is like he likes working with builders across like the country that build cool shit, and he just like helps them out, like gets them in front of people, puts them on his website,
Rick,
etc.
Let's get it going then.
Yeah. Another person too I would talk to, man, is Steve over at Deadbeat Customs. He kind of does the same thing. He takes in a lot of like the guys doing this kind of shit and throws it up there.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, if both of those guys, like, you know, I'll probably swing back around for, you know, talk to both of those. But again, like, if anybody's out there got a good platform or whatever, like, I'll throw you a free sample. It doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? You can test it out, you know, run it through its paces. If you get tired of it, you know, or if you don't like it, you can always send it back or whatever, or keep it, throw it into a fire pit, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, do some testing.
Yeah.
So it's all good, you know. We can, you know.
Yeah, I bet it wouldn't be too tough for you to get on Lowbrow. Tyler's a super good dude, and like he's about like the grassroots shit. Like he really likes that kind of shit.
Yeah. I had sent him an email. I was just waiting on lenses. Once I get these urethane lenses back, I mean, some of the stuff that I've seen from urethane is like, dude, you could fucking stand on that shit. Like it's just I get damaged. The lenses that I'm using right now are a little bit softer. So yeah, but that's all like, you know, the dude that I'm working with, Jim, is like he's gonna have to make gang tools and all that other shit if it becomes something that really blows up, you know. But it could, you know. So.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm happy.
Yeah, man. Rick listens to these episodes every single week, and usually on like Thursday night. So I'm sure he'll be hitting.
That's what's up, dude. I really appreciate that if you did. Yeah. Again.
Yeah.
A sample, Rick. Come check it out.
It's like a drug dealer, just a taste, get you hooked.
Yeah.
I've been running that taillight though, dude, and my fucking shovel head it fucking vibrates like a motherfucker, dude. And I have that thing mounted right behind the fucking clutch. Like it's just held on by like I mean, it's in a rough spot right next to the ground. It's been holding up, and it's brighter than fuck. You know, and actually, when I first got it, dude, it's brighter than my headlights by a lot. Like I would run those taillights as headlights.
And
dude.
So actually, here's a little secret. I'm already planning on that. I'm gonna change the housing. I already made headlights, and I already made the LEDs for the headlights. So I'm planning on changing the housing just a little bit so we can get the right geometry. So like we can put a projector beam on either the coffins, which would be cool to have a coffin headlight, or you know the little dime pieces. We just need to have enough space on the backside so we can get that, you know, the right amount of like space for outputting light. So it's definitely possible. It's already on my mind, you know. It's just a matter of like when I get time to execute on that. But I have been thinking about that for sure. But yeah, I'm glad that that's holding up. Again, like there's always that doubt, right? Like you sell something and you're like, fuck, like it worked for me, but like something unexpected, could happen, right? Like I actually care quite a bit about having stuff work and be functional. So like that's why I'm always like, if you have issues, like reach out like immediately. You know what I mean? Like because it's easier to solve stuff if people are unhappy. You know what I mean? Instead of just being mad about it. But,
well, that's the biggest bummer too, is because like people in this community, like you said, the chopper community is probably one of the best, man, around motorcycles, and like that they want to support the dudes like you that are like grinding it out in the garage because they're doing the same shit, and like they want that one of a kind shit. Then it's like, I don't want to say all the time, but like a lot of time when something goes bad, now you just can't get a hold of that dude. You know what I mean? So it's like, it sucks, man.
Yeah, I never will operate like that. If you have a problem, you message me immediately. I am not against giving returns. I'm not against like if you still like it, but you're like, I don't know about this, like hit me up. Like it's not about the money. Like I want to make sure, again, I've been in that spot where like I don't have a lot of money. I spent X amount on this. I get it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like I don't even have a lot of like this shit's hard enough as it is. Like, right? So like if anybody experiences that, like the first thing you got to do is message me because I'm very good about that. Because again, I've been in that spot, and like things happen every once in a while, right? Like, and I try my best to do what I can, if there is anything like that. But yeah, don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything like that. I stand behind what I make, So I'm glad that's working out for you too. That lens is fucking sweet. Wu-Tang, that shit's awesome.
Yeah.
And I hope later.
Well, dude, I love it because you can choose whatever color you want.
Yeah.
And then so originally I got I think I got the yellow one off you originally. And then I just hit you up and I was like, dude, you do like fucking custom shit? And you're like, yeah. And then you fucking spun a custom taillight up in a fucking weekend, and I had a Wu-Tang taillight. It was fucking awesome.
About it too. It's like, damn, like just fucking put anything in there. Like that's what I get. That's the thing about getting stoked, where it's like, damn, like, and it looks legal, like super sweet. Like I really enjoy that. We spent a lot of time making those circuit boards, and just making sure they were right, and even updating. Like in the future, I got to update wire sizes and a few other things, but like spent a lot of time making sure those were going to work, and perform the right way. So
I guess like through the process of making parts, because it's obvious that you give a lot of thought to every little detail. You know what I mean? It's not just a cool looking part. It's not just like, it doesn't just make, like you were talking earlier, like what if I made something that like you don't need a welder to do? And like how long does it take to like come up with a part like that? You know what I mean? Like like the taillights. Let's just use the taillights, for example. Like, how long were you thinking about making those taillights? How much research and development went in that before you sold your first one?
Oh my God. There was a lot of prototype testing and making sure the form looked right. I massaged the fuck out of that form. Like I really did. I was like, okay, actually, let me go grab one really quick, and I can kind of, we'll go a little bit deeper, into it. Because there's definitely a lot of massaging going on with that piece. But I looked at what was out there already. I saw that other people were trying to make lenses, make custom lenses and colored stuff, and that always kind of it always still kind of looks like a white light behind something that's colored. And I just wanted to kind of improve on that and kind of like something road legal, But looked at other stuff out there. I got a lot of good inspiration from there's a couple other people making lights, and I'm blanking right now. F&A.
Yeah. Just bought Morris Magneto.
Yeah, that dude's he's crushing shit. Like he's really getting out there and doing. There was a lot of good inspiration that I got from him, and he's doing beautiful work too. Again, like he's easily the one who's like, okay, set the bar, right? Like That's who I want to, like, if I'm making stuff, that's who I.
That's actually, that's a good parallel that you drew there, because he's kind of the same. He comes up with like unique things that are super functional, because I got his intake seals on my shovel head, and it's just like a really simple, affordable, like really good, I guess fucking elegant idea. Same thing with like Dan just got his headlight, you know. That's a good parallel. Yeah, like people that put a lot of thought into their parts about like functionality and like durability, but also like aesthetics.
Yeah.
You know?
So he's got a good overlap. He's got a designer mind for sure. He's solving a problem. He's making it look cool, and then he's making it affordable. So people talk about product design, and there's a lot of theories. There's you can go into a lot of complex things when we talk product design, especially corporate. But really, you need those three things. If you don't have those three things, you're fucking off. Like, it's just not going to work well, right? Like, from my experience, right? Like, it's got to look good, it's got to be affordable, and then it's also got to, perform well. And so, yeah, there's that overlap, right? Like, and that balance is sometimes hard to maintain if you don't have the right processes. But yeah, definitely. But yeah. So this is the new version. It doesn't have the hole drilled yet for the wires that come out the backside, but as you can tell, I don't know if you can see it that well, that looks like an arrowhead, and that looks like the shaft of the arrow. If you can kind of make that out. Like, so there's a lot of little details right there in the form itself that like are kind of hidden. You wouldn't know. Like, so the shape of the lens allows you to see light from the side as well, right? Like, so the light is it reflects in such a way that like you can really get a lot of light just from the side. So that's just another added safety feature. Those points on the end almost act as kind of like a light pipe. There's an LED that sits right beneath that. So the end of this tip will shine a little bit brighter than everything else. Like, there's a lot of different things you can do with optics. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So this is the new version. I got rid of some geometry in this just because it would make a better design. So there used to be a little bridge right across there. Got rid of that altogether. So when you squeeze those tabs down, those tabs can really move and really bite into whatever, 1/4-inch piece that you have, sliding up in there. So I'm going to be sending out stainless steel tabs with this. So all you got to do is you cut a slot in that tab. You'll slide this right on. And what I mean by cut a slot is, if you can look in there carefully, there's another tab in there, right? And so that'll prevent any.
Keeps it from rotating.
Yep. And so with this too, you only see one fastener on the front for the lens, and that's because if this gets scaled up properly, on the back side of the lens, if this is an injection molded part, like plastic injection, that'll be the post in, right, for the plastic. But there's a feature in the casting that allows you to use that little post as a means of just keeping the lens in there. And even with yours, I mean, it's designed the same way, and it still holds.
It's got one screw. Yeah. And I was weary about that because I screwed that thing in and I was trying to peel it. I was trying to take it off with my fingers. And dude, it's on there
almost
solid.
A little bit of a press fit, right? Like, it's a geometry.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens. There's going to be, so cool. I'm sure there's going to be variations in the future and places where I can improve. But I've had them on my bike for a while. I haven't had any issue, and just keep it pushing. Once the material even gets stronger, it's going to be fucking golden.
So what's the timeline on these headlights? When are you hoping to get something that you can start selling with those?
So I want to get the tail. So these guys I actually need to get out first, and I've been kind of around through a lot of different. I've been really busy with the coffins. So once the coffins are kind of start to slow down a little bit, and I start to send samples to other people, then I'm going to jump back onto these guys. But once I sell these, I'm going to start to push into turning these into headlights, right? So yeah, there's a few other things too, like just legally speaking with.
So are the headlights basically just like that same design, only exploded up, like just scaled up, or are they totally different?
That's what I'm hoping for.
Oh, no shit.
With the circuitry that I made for my other headlights. So I have other headlights, but they're a lot larger, right? but we had made those same. We were preemptive with the circuit boards. Like we made it so if you look inside of the headlight that I have currently, I haven't really shown it. I'll post some pictures of that later, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But there's a circuit board on the inside of the headlights, right? There's two of them. There's one for the LEDs, and then there's one for all the components, like the drivers. And we purposely set that up so we wouldn't put heat into the other board that has all the drivers, because you can damage all that stuff with heat, right? And then also do that, if you separate those two, you can also just put all those components farther on down your wiring, hide those underneath a gas tank, and just have only the LEDs in the housing. And that allows you to get a really super tiny shape with a really high powered LED. So,
dude, that would be fucking nuts to have a headlight that size.
It's gonna happen.
There's nothing anywhere near that small that I've seen. I mean, those F&A ones are fucking tiny, but they ain't that tiny. That thing's the size of a silver dollar. That lens there, right?
Yeah, basically. Yep. Now there might have to be a little bit of an offset. Like there might have to be some geometry on the backside that comes off just to get the right, because you have to have the right space between the optic and the LED. But it's something it's a gap we're gonna, right? So
wow, that'd be super cool.
Yeah,
that's
dude,
fucking crazy, dude.
Dude, that's crazy.
There's a lot of shit going.
I love it though.
But yeah, and again, like if you can tell, there's two steps in there, right? Like so, there's a face right there. That's for our heatsink for the boards because they can get hot, and then the backside is carved out for the components. So we have a circuit board that has LEDs on one side, and then the backside is all componentry, and that's how we save space, and that's how we get a package that's like fucking tiny, So same thing with the coffin.
Wow.
But yeah, man.
How big are the coffin tanks? I guess I've seen them. They look tiny. I'm assuming they're tiny, but like
they are tiny. I'll grab one. I'll grab a housing. They're super small.
Yeah, I know Danny was trying to pour his own coffin headlight this year. If you can get a coffin tank headlight for Danny,
dude,
he'd be running that shit.
It's funny. So the homie, Dirty Shirt Richner, who does Triumph stuff, hit me up about that. He was like, dude, you should make coffin headlights. And he wanted one on his Triumph. But I also remember that your homie was talking about that and texted me about that as well. I don't want to feel like I was just jacked his idea or anything, but I definitely, there's definitely some linear thinking going on. Where's the...
It's a cool headlight idea.
Yeah.
Fucking coffin.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, yeah. It'll be sweet if it works. Your homeboy should hit me up on that again, because I don't want to feel like I'm like, now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, damn, that's kind of like too much overlap. I don't like to be copying people, that's what I mean. But, trying to figure out, I don't know where these housings are right now, but they're tiny. They're probably that big, you can measure that.
So you don't look like you got a lot of space in that garage, dude. What are you doing in those winters out in the fucking Midwest? Because I know it gets colder than balls out there.
Yeah. You just put on, coveralls, insulated coveralls, and get after it. Put on some gloves, tough it out. That's literally.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No heat out there, huh? Except, I guess.
Nope.
Nothing?
No, coveralls will do.
Just the coveralls and the fucking the heat that emits from your own humongous ball sack, I guess.
Yeah, definitely that. Just being a fucking madman. That's basically what keeps me warm.
I know that pain, dude. I didn't have my first garage until the last.
It's hard.
I lived in.
Bro, it gets fucking cold out there. I spent a lot of time in Eden Prairie, that area. Over in Minnesota, dude, it gets cold as fuck in the winter. It's not like New Hampshire cold. It's like Arctic.
Dude, I had to replace all the brake lines on one of my trucks. It was 0 degrees out. I shit you not. It was my only vehicle at the time, and I did all 4 brake lines with just coveralls and just having it just needed to get done, right? Like, I don't know. After a while, you start to acclimate, right? Like, but yeah, definitely can fuck you over. So, damn, I kind of wish I could find one of those coffins right now, buried in all this shit. Either way, they are tiny.
Did you sell? I guess. Did you sell out of those? Do you only have like so many, and then they're gone
No,
until the
I
next
actually
run?
was preemptive about that because I kind of had a feeling that people would really enjoy this kind of stuff. So I made a fair amount, but it's still like one of those things where it's like, we'll see if people continue to buy them, right? Like, you never know with some of this stuff. Like, it could just be like, again, I think it kind of depends on the advertising. I probably made 50 to 60 coffins and then probably the same amount for the dime lights as well. I just do it's if I make 10 of them and then they sell out, then I have like a whole bunch of lead time, like to get more, you know what I mean? So
Right. No, yeah, well, that's true too. I mean, that's the business side of it too. It's like, all right, so you make 100, you sell 100. It doesn't mean that you can make another 100 and sell another 100, right? Like, because you might have just had 100 people.
Dude, it could just be 25, and then you're like, that's the take. Like, but I'm cool just because it's like, oh, we're still making cool shit. So, like, if it was, you know what I mean? Like, if I didn't have the passion for it, it'd been like, oh, I'm not making enough money. Fuck this. You know what I mean? If it was a hustle, it'd have been different.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
So I guess headlights are next up. What else are you fucking tinkering with though? I mean, like, what other parts are you thinking about?
So like with that
staying in the light game?
With that Vespa, I want to do a cylinder really bad. I want to do the head and the cylinder as one. Since it's a two-stroke, we don't have anything up top. I want to do that as one, and I want to and I've been telling multiple people about this. I just don't have time. It's just I want to make it so like the cooling fins are like all wavy and shit, or like you can do all sorts of zigzags in the cooling fins themselves, right? Like start to make optical patterns within the zigzags. So that's kind of what I'm thinking next. And so I think I'll probably do it with the Vespa. Just take the cylinder off that, measure that, might even scan it just because it's going to be faster and easier to take geometry just from scanning it. And then start to put my own twist to it. And then it's just a matter of, making prototypes and making sure the volume's right and making sure the ports are right and whatever other bridges we got to jump, because I'm sure there's going to be like a lot of machining involved with that. But, we'll see what happens.
What about like kicker pedals and shit? Any plans for that?
It could be a thing. I think I've thought about it before. I need to figure out a good way to get like that little axle piece in the center, right? Like, I don't know if that's like something you can just buy individually. I'm sure it is, maybe. I don't know the price on it.
Yeah, I think you can.
It might be something to look into then, you know what I mean? I usually like to prototype off of my shit, and I don't have a shovel head right now or anything, you know what I mean? Like, set up for kick like that. So it's usually one of those things where I'd like to test it on something just to make sure I'm not like, making designs that, that like have unforeseen consequences or whatever it is, right? Like,
yeah.
Isn't that Vespa kick only?
That does have a kicker on it, but it's a different it's like totally different vibe. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like a solid piece of metal with a little fucking thingy on it. So I'm pretty sensitive about that stuff because it's like if it doesn't look right, like if you make something that's too big or it's like too fat or like I'm super visually sensitive to that. So I'm like, I fucking test it on something, like just like literally look at it to make sure that like that looks right. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I don't make parts, because I'd just be like, oh, well, it's kicker's a kicker.
I mean, you just
make a kicker for this fucking Vespa, and then it should be okay.
I'm sure that would work just as well. It's just different process, right? Different thinking. So, And there's nothing wrong with that too. I just want to say everybody out there like doing their own thing don't have a lot of skills with finishing and don't have like a lot of like you don't have like a lot of artistic skills. Like if you know at least what you're good at, right? Like that's where like if you try to like do some Michelangelo shit, that's where it's gonna look bad. But if you know what you're good at, then that's how you can make stuff look consistent and like theme stuff, right? That's just like a part of art as well. I don't know if that makes any sense, right? But like, is that you get what I'm saying? No.
I mean, I think so. I mean, I think it's kind of like if you're not into something, I mean, you can't really like force it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like the reason that you're making cool shit is not an accident. It's because there's passion there, and that's an important part because you can't shoehorn that in. It's like you're interested in the design aspect, you're interested in the functionality aspect, you're interested in the process of making things. That's how you make parts. You need all those things. And that's why there's so much fucking junk out there, is because someone makes a part because they want to make money. Well, that's not, you can't have one motivation, because the part looks like shit or it doesn't work well. Like you need to have that trifecta. And that's when someone's got it, is like they got it all. They got like, it works. They care about it. They're not in it for the money. If you're in anything for the money, get out of
recipe.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you're on Wall Street or some shit. But even those motherfuckers aren't happy. You know what I mean? Like if you're doing anything in your life just for money, that's the wrong reason. You know that out the gate. So like get into something that you're passionate about, and then you care about it. That's the other thing, is like that. Just like just motorcycles in general. You know what I mean? Like motherfuckers that don't care about it, they don't care about the culture, they don't care about the bikes or the people or whatever, they come and go and they're gone. And then you have like the people that actually are genuine. If you're disingenuine, motherfuckers will pick you out right off the gate.
That's so easy. When people are just chilling there. Whoa, there's a rabbit right here. I kid you not. But yeah, people are just chilling, and they don't really have love for it. Like it's very easy to pick up, right? Like that, like this is just all bullshit. And I was just talking to this one of my buddies, Speed Trap Choppers, is Nick from around in my area, and he was just telling me about like he had bought something from somebody. He can't even get a hold of the guy anymore. It's just like totally dropped off of the face of the planet because it's basically a grift for some people, right? Like that's really bad. And there's a lot of people that do that, and there's some people too, like if you have an engineering kind of mind, you don't have an art mind, you can make some cool shit, but it's going to look clunky and it's going to look like some CNC like billet aluminum fucking massive, you know what I mean, all the performance parts from out of the 90s, like that kind of aesthetics. Maybe that's something you're going for, but like some of that stuff, if you don't have the art side but you have the engineering side, you get those kind of clunky weird parts sometimes. Nothing against it, though.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too. It's like, it's okay to put something out there that sucks. And then as long as you're pulling it back, like, because then you're like, oh, shit, this didn't work. And then it's like, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you got to fail. So you got to put your shitty part out there and then let it suck and then bring it back and then like make it better.
So I made some titty covers a while back. And people keep bugging me about them. And like, I fucking hate the form on them. Like, I purposely made them flatter so you wouldn't catch your foot.
The titties aren't big enough.
So with mid controls, I made them flatter because I was like, I don't want anybody to fucking catch a titty and then they can't break or whatever. You know what I mean? Something crazy like that. I didn't want to have anything happen like that. And so it was like, but at the end of it, it's like the form didn't look right, and that's where I was like, dude, like I'm not selling any more of these. Like, you know what I mean? I need to bail on that shit. Yeah. And it's good to fail publicly, right? Like we wouldn't be human if we couldn't do that, right? Like I get humbled every day by, trying to do difficult shit. And I feel like we should all be in that lane, right? Like we should all be trying to learn and not be afraid of failing publicly or, making an ass out of yourself. Cause it's like, that's how you get better. The people who can't take risks and can't do that, they're never going to make shit anyways. Cause they're too afraid, you know what I mean? Right? Like,
yep.
So Yeah, make sure you fail often.
Yeah.
Well, not all the time, but like, you know. Yes.
Enough to get
Yeah,
better.
totally.
Yeah.
It makes us human.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it makes you, I mean, I think it's a prerequisite for being an entrepreneur, no matter what you're doing, you know, like you have to, here's the difference, right? Is like someone with an entrepreneurial mind, they go for it. They at least do it, you know? And then there's some motherfuckers, and we've all grown up with them. All they do is talk. They just talk, 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 talk. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. Fucking do it. There has to be a point where you just pull the trigger, and fucking do it. And it's not going to be perfect the first time, because you can't plan for every fucking contingency and anything that could possibly go wrong. But you have to know when that, I mean, there's a threshold there. You can't pull it too soon. You can't pull it too late, but do fucking something and make sure it's well thought out. You know what I mean? And then learn from it. And again, like you said, like be humble, you know, because you suck. You have to fail, you know, like 1,000 times before you're okay. Now I'm like, some Michael Jordan shit, you know, like I miss like more shots than I made, you know, but like fucking do, like,
it's
do
true
something.
Though. It's true though. That's why like in pinstriping, a lot of people will start pinstriping, and because pinstriping is very hard, a lot of people just don't, they'll last a couple weeks and they're like, I fucking suck at this, and they stop pinstriping. You have to suck for a long fucking time to be good at pinstriping. You know what I mean? That's like the most humbling hobby you could ever pick up.
Definitely. You know, all that stuff. It's like, if you want to get good at drawing, you want to get good at any of this stuff, know that it's going to be so fucking difficult. Like, but that's all, like the fucking journey. Like, that's the sickest part. You're like, oh, I'm about to climb this fucking hill, and there's going to be all these shout monks I have to fight, and it's going to suck, but it's going to be awesome when I get to the top. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the coolest part, man, is like once you get through all that shit, and then you look at where you are from where you started, is fucking insane.
Yeah, no, you have it. That's you have. It's obvious to me. Like you know that experience, and I think that's fulfilling for a lot of people who are artists, right? Like that's the best part. Is like fuck, like you know, seeing it, you know. So.
Yep.
Yeah. And then being proud of what you made, you know what I mean? Like even when, because on the way up, there's going to be motherfuckers that are like, you know, especially when you're doing all sales are online, everything's on social media. Like there's just like some dumb motherfuckers that get on there and they're just like trashing your shit. And it's like, where's your fucking dime piece tail light? You know, like where's your fucking coffin tank that you made?
I'll speak to that. I actually have not had not a lot of negative shit, which is fucking amazing. Like you can go around the internet and have somebody call you crazy shit, like absolutely crazy shit. But this community, again, is really supportive of people. You guys should all.
Yeah, I had the same, man. Like
for that,
coming up in pinstriping. Yeah. Coming up in pinstriping was the same way, dude. I would post pictures of like the most dog shit pinstriping you've ever seen, and people were like amped on it.
I haven't been to a lot of different, like, I haven't seen a lot of different, you know, communities that are that supportive, right? That's fucking huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in this community, man, it's a lot of like dudes that like, for sounding corny, but like-minded dudes that like their brains work pretty fucking similar, and like when they see somebody doing cool shit, they're just fucking stoked on it, no matter what it is. It's just cool that like you're doing some shit.
And I think again we have a lot of similar thinking, like for a lot of stuff. Like I like totally forgot that your homeboy was also making a fucking coffin headlight. Like of course, you know what I mean? It's just like there's so much overlap, right? Like that it's almost kind of like it's a good and a bad thing, but it's also like the reason why where it's like fuck, like we're all kind of doing the same thing. Like Dan's trying to make, you know, headlights, I'm trying to make headlights, we're all trying to fucking, you know what I mean, do all this shit. So it's just interesting how much overlap there is, and you know, again, people thinking in the same ways and, you know, supporting each other through it. Like that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Do you struggle with like when you're coming up with new shit? Do you like just fucking pick your shit apart?
Sometimes, I mean, I'm pretty. If you do a like a really stringent analysis of what you're doing, like, and you start to think, like, I've gotten into this mindset where I'm thinking, oh, what about the vibrations, or what about this thickness isn't like I've
Yeah,
done that enough to where I can make something and really get pretty close, like first or second swing, to where I'm like, okay, I need to like actually take this
yeah,
seriously. But I definitely you guys a lot, and just the
yeah,
community in general. Like, hey, does this look right? Is this working? You know what I mean? Because people love to be a part of the design process.
yeah,
I'm trying to do more community voting and stuff like that because it's just like that's so sick.
yeah. And it makes sense, man. Because it's like at the end of
Yeah,
the day, those are the people buying the shit. So it's like it kind of helps you
yeah,
gauge which
definitely.
direction
And
you should
again,
be
it's
going
it's
in.
inclusive, right? Like, if we have the keys to the foundry, like, I'd rather bring all my friends with me to decide like what we're gonna make, instead of just being like,
Yeah,
no, you can't come. No, it's only for me. You know what I mean? Like, that's corny.
right. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Unfortunately, that's like you get that, but I mean, you get that with like every group of people. There's always those dudes that are like just
Yeah.
not stoked for people. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
everybody knows that fucking guy, but it's just that's
Yeah.
always been like a
So,
weird thing to me, man. It's like, especially since the podcast is like, whenever I have any kind of light on me, whether it's like through lowbrow or a fucking psycho source or
yeah.
whoever, I'm fucking bringing everybody. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like it just doesn't make sense
Totally. I
not
mean, if
to.
you want to build a healthy community, you have to bring others with. I've been in, you ever go to a punk
Right.
show and there's the one guy standing outside and he goes, "That's not punk. These guys aren't punk. This is when it was punk." You've met before. That's what kills
Yeah.
communities, right? Like, to have, that's not fucking hardcore.
Yeah.
Like, I've
Yeah.
seen that literally kill communities. I've seen it with completely different things, related to like skateboarding and shit. Just seen it. So it's not good to even roll that way. It doesn't make sense for your community and your culture, and it doesn't make sense even economically. But again, it's a human emotion, right? So, like, there's even times where I'm like, I don't know if I'm feeling that, and then I have to check myself. Like, no, like, maybe you're just jealous. Like, that happens. Like, get over it. You know what I mean? Like, I can
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like that's the line that you have to like fucking toe is like you have to decide, is this a culture vulture? Is this a fucking, like, is this person genuine? But also you have to be like, yeah, you have to check your own fucking ego and be like, am I just
yeah,
jealous, or is this legit? And also, by the way, it's like, mind your P's and Q's and keep your fucking opinions to yourself too. You don't have to immediately hop on and start trashing people. It's
yeah.
just like, let's
And
see how this
like,
plays out,
social media is just so
Yeah.
toxic in general. Like, I've actually just, yeah,
Yeah.
to everybody
100%
listening
agree,
right
dude.
now, like, go out and ride your bike more. Like, trust me. Like, just, you don't need to be on social media. Yeah, there's cool shit happening, but also, like, enjoy your life. Go learn how to pinstripe. Go draw. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's just better to be, outside. And I actually, speaking of that, I'm gonna be doing some giveaways where you have to ride to get free parts. So I'm stoked on it. And maybe you guys can get it too. But I'm gonna be
Oh
taking like
shit.
mason jars and sticking parts in them, and hopefully hiding them and putting geolocations to that stuff. So yeah, I'm thinking, yeah,
Dude, that's sick.
yeah,
Send one up
just
here, dude.
That's a good
writing and
idea.
going out and
That's
doing
cool.
stuff instead of like, oh, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, because that's where that's how those fucking trolls are created, you know what I mean? Like, they're just like stuck in their fucking phone scrolling, and it's like, dude,
yeah,
get on a bike and go out and ride.
yes,
Yeah,
You know
go
what I mean?
fucking do something.
Yeah. Go out there. Go out in the rain. Go out when it's hot, too hot to ride, like, get
yeah,
out there and be uncomfortable,
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it'd be like that. It's just the human element.
Yeah.
So, fuck.
Fuck.
Well, real quick, while we have this pause, let's thank some of the
Yes.
people that make this fucking show possible. Up first, we got, since we've been talking about him, Dan at No Luck Paintworks cooking up some of the dopest fucking paint jobs.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to the fucking old son. Cooking up some of the dopest paint jobs in the Northeast. This dude puts his blood, sweat, and motherfucking tears into every paint job. And listen, I've told this kid 100 times, you're selling yourself short. This kid is... Go look at any of his fucking paint jobs. He absolutely crushes it, but is still hooking every single fucking person up because he just loves the fucking community.
Yeah.
He loves people doing cool shit, and he loves painting. So, huge shout out to Dan and No Luck Paintworks. Go give him a follow. Hit him up if you need some fucking paint work done. Up next, we got chopshit.com, the homie Chicken Rick. This motherfucker's been traveling across the entire country. All while helping us plan Deadbeat. Made it to Diablo Run. Made it to, what was the other one he just did? I can't remember. He just did another show too.
He's everywhere.
And he's coming to the hill climb. Yeah, he does everything. Go check out chopshit.com. Buy some cool shit from some cool motherfuckers like Aero Manufacturing here, who will be on the website soon, I'm hoping. And tell them that the Low Life Chopper podcast sent you. Up next, we got Josh from Steel City Blacksmithing, who will be vending at the Low Life Lowdown. So if you've been wanting some shit from him, hit him up and tell him to fucking bring it, because he will be here June 10th. Low Life Lowdown, Epping, New Hampshire. Come check out Steel City Blacksmithing. Give him a follow on Instagram. And what else? We got Steve at Deadbeat Retreat.
Deadbeat Customs.
Oh, yeah. Deadbeat Customs, the creator of the Deadbeat Retreat, which is going to be the biggest, baddest motherfucking show on the East Coast this year. So make sure you go grab your ticket. Use code LOWLIFE at checkout and give him a follow at Deadbeat Customs on Instagram. And last but not least, we have Lowbrow Customs. Tyler, the madman, setting speed records in the fucking salt flats and linking up with some of the dopest parts manufacturers in the fucking game, bringing you the dopest parts to build a bike from scratch. Whether it's the motor, trans, frame, fenders, gas tanks, he's got it all. And he supports every fucking grassroots show. So if you need some parts, get over to lowbrowcustoms.com.
Damn. Crushed it again. That's like 4,000 words, bro. That was intense.
That was a lot.
You got that shit memorized, though.
Just freestyling. That's why they're different every time.
Just off the cuff.
That's it. Yeah, man, people are going to be pumped on this episode. This has been one that a lot of people have been asking for. Dan, especially. Dan is like, he loves the shit you're doing, so he's going to be pumped on it.
That dude is the homie. He's been super supportive. And dude, yeah, Dan, fucking you rock, dude. Seriously, thanks for, I think he mentioned me a while back in one of the other podcasts, but fucking shout out, Dan.
Yeah. I think he put me onto you to get that tail light. He was like, bro, check this dude out. Said you were a good dude. But yeah, Dan's the fucking man. Yeah, dude, I was really looking forward to this because, like, I don't know how old you are. I don't know if you're like young or just ridiculously good looking, but you got what it takes to get to fucking to the neck. Like, if you keep with this shit, dude, you got like the fucking trifecta. You know what I mean? Like, you care about shit. You're smart. You got like the machining shit or like the fucking measure. You math smart. You book smart, but you also got like that artistic shit. Like, just keep on fucking grinding. You'll find your way doing something somewhere. You know what I mean? But the taillight is definitely dope as fuck, and I love what you're doing. So
yeah, man, I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys letting me come on here and talk a little bit about it. And again, fucking shout out Dan. That dude fucking rock. So, hell yeah, guys. Yeah,
we got one final question for you.
I'm single, yes.
Are you ready?
All right, now I'm too. All right.
All right. All right. Would you rather fight to the death with a one-armed silverback gorilla on the 4th of July, or you have to fight a chicken every single day, but you never know when it's going to happen for the rest of your life.
Chickens are pretty brutal. So chickens are brutal, but gorillas
Chickens are rough.
But a silverback gorilla. And the 4th of July is coming up.
No weapons?
You don't have a lot of time to prep.
He's only got one arm, though.
That's
Don't they run with their arms?
Yeah.
So he might be slow.
That's pretty good.
You might be able to give him like one of the fucking
I'll
crossover
him. I'll
sneaks,
just fucking
dude.
grab him right by his throat. You won't know what's happening. Dude, yeah.
Hit him with a smaller monkey.
Chicken, I would.
Just pick up some spider monkey nunchucks.
Listen, I'm here to say, dude, I'm not trying to fuck with chickens, man. Those things are fucking brutal sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but you can kill a chicken a day. Like a chicken, you're driving in your car, it's like, just, that's easy. Dude, a silverback gorilla is pretty fucking big, even with one arm. And July 4th is coming up quick.
Yeah, no.
And he's probably patriotic at that time.
It's a bad bet. Like, with a one arm, he's going to be able to tear a limb off for sure.
Dude, they go for that soft tissue, too. Dude. So your nose, your dick, that shit's gone.
And their teeth,
No, I've seen, dude.
Oh, yeah.
The images of even, like, the chimpanzee people who have chimpanzees. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Don't Google that.
Yeah, and they bite the face off and shit?
Yeah, get a face transplant.
Probably
So what are you
chickens.
going with? What's your answer here?
Chickens. That's probably... I'd kick a chicken. Like,
Fuck.
if you get one good kick on a rooster, I feel like it's going to go down. You know, I could do that every day.
Every day, though, and you never know when it's going to happen. It could be 3 a.m. It could be when you're on a date.
That would suck.
It could be, dude, Christmas Day.
Christmas Day.
You're opening a present.
To eat a Christmas ham, dude.
Chicken pops out. And you know that chicken's going to get a couple of good licks in, bud. They got dirty.
I mean, it's not going to rip a fucking limb off, though. So that's like the plus.
I know, but you got about a month to just prep one arm gorilla and just fucking end it.
Is it a fair fight, fist fight, or is it like
no? They're
street fight.
You're both naked.
They're definitely gonna.
So not a street fight. That sucks. If it was like a street fight, you could bring like a baseball bat or like
the risk changes, right? Like melee weapon, right? Like I feel maybe a little bit more confident if I catch you sneak up on them, get them from behind, hit them with an iron pipe or something, Streets of Rage style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like some nuts at least to fucking make it fair.
I don't even know if you could. I don't know if that would even phase them, dude.
Yeah,
how big is a gorilla, dude?
It'd have to be something considerable. Big. They got thick skulls.
Yeah. Dude, that's something right there. You can start making brass knuckles.
I've had people talk about it. But there's two reasons. I don't want to get caught up into the weapons category of, selling online, because that can be problematic. And then also, I don't want to learn that somebody fucking entered the Shadow Realm at 3:00 at a fucking quick stop because somebody got their car bumped or whatever. You know what I mean? Make me feel terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly thought about doing that for a little while. Not fucking stopping someone out of a car at a gas station, but making
both will happen sometimes. Yeah. You never
sometimes
know.
It just has to happen.
But yeah, I'm hoping the best for everybody. Violence is not the answer. You see enough violence and you go, oh fuck, let's avoid that. Do you know what I mean? It's just. But yeah.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Well, violence is the answer when you have to either fight a gorilla or a chicken. Which is it?
It's
final answer.
Probably gorilla, because then it's one and done.
Okay. You're doing the gorilla.
Yeah, I would go the same way.
You're doing gorilla?
Yeah, I'd go the same way, dude. Fuck, I'm not trying to fuck with a chicken every single day, bro. Think about how many more years you have left on this earth. Even if it's just one, dude, that's 365 fucking chickens, dude. Fuck me, dude.
I'm going chickens, dude.
Ugh, can't do it.
It could be.
Can't do it. That's a lifelong commitment.
Dude, I hate
anything
fucking
from
chickens.
the environment
Fuck some
also,
chickens
then
up.
gorilla for sure. Because then I'm just gonna grab something bigger. You know what I mean? Hopefully, maybe a garden rake or a fucking samurai sword or some shit.
Yep. Yeah, I agree, man.
All
right, boys.
Yeah,
well, killer fucking episode. Listen, man, you lived up to the hype on this episode. This is a good one. I think people are really gonna fucking enjoy it.
They can go. Never mind. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, man. And where's the best place for everybody to find you? If they want to order shit, they're just doing that straight on Instagram or what?
Link on my Instagram and go through, check it out. And if something's sold out, always feel free to message me too, because sometimes I got stragglers laying around. But yeah, just stay a part of it, and you guys are always free to suggest stuff, and I love hearing from you guys. There's so much cool shit that you guys always, people that always hit me up and be like, "Yo, this would be cool," and sometimes it happens. Like,
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
I really appreciate that.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
Awesome, dude.
All right, man, we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, hang on for a minute. We're going to end this episode.
Yeah.
But really appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Peace, bitches.